All right, everybody, welcome to today's meeting. I'm glad that we were able to get together at such last minute. I know you guys are busy. It's a Friday afternoon, but I wanted to touch base with you with regards to the Lambert workshop that we all went to last week. Now, the county helps pay for that. We pay for your subs. We get you out of class, and so really we need to know, is it beneficial? So I need some feedback from each of you with regards to how you felt that it went. Ms. Holland, how about you start us off?
I thought the workshop was fantastic. It was very well organized. They did a great job of presentation, very knowledgeable. I heard, had some activities that I hadn't necessarily tried before, which I really appreciated. Great discourse among colleagues. Fantastic.
So you would go again?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Tom Cho, your thoughts?
I thought it was very good. I liked how they gave us new ideas to use USA Test Prep, new ways to look at the data, and just new ways to apply it in an AP environment.
Good deal. Ms. Talent?
Same. I mean, it's hard to be out of your class for a day when you have so much content to teach. But I thought that it was the information that we got was worth it. That it was worth going and seeing all the new things that we could potentially add in to make the class better.
So that's an interesting point you bring up. So are you saying you'd be interested in a Saturday workshop?
Well, I don't know. Like, they mentioned something about doing like AP reading, and so as a new AP teacher, I think that it would help me grade my students' essays better if I could see some and grade them on that level. Is that possible?
Well, that's a really good point. We brought up at the AP coordinator meeting, what a great opportunity. If you could ever become an AP reader in your content area, it'd be a huge help. It's a huge bonus to not only your teaching and the strategies, but also to your students. And with regards to being up on the most current networking with people across the country and how the essays are scored, once you figure that out, you can save a lot of time scoring the essays much more quickly, and that would free up a lot of time on the other side of things as well. And so I'll show you how to apply for that. That would really be a great thing. We've had several teachers over the last couple of years apply to do the readings, and it's been so beneficial. Just from my personal experience with AP Bio, I'd like to say I could probably read a full-length essay in about 45 seconds to a minute. And that has helped me increase the number of essays I give my students as well over time. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Yeah, let me kind of piggyback on it. I know that they need to increase the writing, and they expect to increase it weekly. I mean, I just want to know how, because I'll be honest with you, I'm slammed right now with trying to get EOC preps in and the USA Test Preps, and now they're wanting to do it weekly. I mean, I don't mind doing some outside work, but how, is there any way we can streamline this somehow?
Ultimately, what we can do to help you out is get you to a reading. We need to get you in the application process online, and we'll spend some time together doing that. I'll sit down at the computer with you during planning period, and I'll walk you through the process. And like I said, we've had several teachers go through this, and so I don't feel that you wouldn't get accepted. If there's a need, you have a good shot of getting in. And the purpose of going to the reading is going to help you speed up your essay grading ability. You'll be able to look for the specific content you need when grading an essay, and thus get through a student's paper that much more quickly. Now, in the short term, obviously that's not till next summer, but the application process starts soon, so we want to get you going on that sooner than later. But the thing we can do in the time being is work you through some activities that will help you speed up the grading process. I have some strategies that I want to go over with you. As a matter of fact, it's interesting that you brought that up. Since you were just at Lambert, I took some papers that I had put together from the Lambert workshop that actually go through sample essays. And I know what you're wondering. You're like, well, why the heck are we doing this now? Well, here's the deal. Your pink essay booklets are coming in soon. We pay for them just like we do every year. Some of you guys have experienced that. You've seen them. So they're going to come in soon, and you're going to be wondering, what the heck do I do with last year's kids' essay booklets? It's their pink booklets that have all of the essays that they've written. Now, what you have is their score. You know every one of your students' scores. So what you can start to do when I give you the booklets is start to match up the essay booklets with the scores. You can figure out who's who. Now, obviously, we can't share names. That's against the regulation and policy. But you can black those out, and you can start to share some of the essays with your students with rubrics. And so the students then can help you in the grading process, or at least the evaluation process, the feedback process. They can do peer edits, peer reviews with one another. And again, you're still leading and in charge. You could be the main person who gives the grade in the end, but this will help speed things up over time. And so I wanted to run you through that today as part of our activity here. And what I've given to you here is an actual essay from AP Environmental Science. Actually, it says AP Biology. AP Environmental Science is the next one we're going to go over. AP Biology, and this is a typical essay that students would see. There's a little bit of graphing involved. They have to analyze the graph, and they have to draw some conclusions and apply it to some new knowledge, which is what you guys are doing already in all of your classes. It almost doesn't matter that I said AP Bio. This could almost be any AP class where you have to analyze some data, you have to look up some information, provide some evidence, and draw some conclusions. And so this works for everybody. So if you're sitting here wondering, why do I got to look at a biology one? This is just where my comfort zone is. And I'll bring some other essays from some other disciplines in over time. But I think you'll really appreciate this. So if you look through, it runs you through the essay on the front page. And then if you flip over to the second page, it actually has the questions. There's a section A, B, C, and D. Okay? And then under each section, it gives you what the answer should look like. And this is what you would see if you went to an AP reading. We were talking about that. Mark, if you go to an AP reading, this is what you'll be given to sit and evaluate students' essays. And so in essence, this is giving you a little bit of practice. And think about it. The kids are the ones who are going to be writing these essays for you, right? So why not show them what the rubric looks like, you know, of potential essays that they're going to see? So you're giving them not only the content, but some tips and some best strategies for how they can put together a really strong essay. And so what I wanted to do is walk you guys through some of the steps here so that, one, you can quickly pull out the information in an essay, and two, you can start to then figure out how can you apply this in your classroom. And I think the students will really appreciate it as well. And so if you look at part A, it's asking them to do what?
Make a graph.
Make a graph. And all kids should be able to make a graph at this point, right?
Okay.
And it tells you where the points are. How many points can they get from part A?
3.
They can get 3 points, and it tells you exactly where those points are. And so when you're working with your students, you can say, let's deconstruct the rubric and see exactly what it means. Would you consider these 3 points easy points for a student to get? If you taught them some basic graphing, these should be 3 easy points they should be able to get on an essay. And I'm just going to tell you from personal AP Biology experience, going through so many essays over all these years, the average score on a 10-point essay tends to hover between 3 and 5. And so think about it. If my student can earn 3 points just on the graphing, are they doing pretty good for this essay? That's awesome. And that's what we want for the kids. We want to be able to show them that even though an essay may look really difficult, there are certain things they can do in certain parts of the essay to be successful. And again, as you go back into your own disciplines, you can start to figure out, how do I apply this to my classroom? How do we involve the students more in the essay writing process? And so if you go down part B, look at the key bold-faced words. A lot of times we miss these in our disciplines. Our kids are smart, they're in AP, right? But not all of them know exactly, how do I predict? You know, how do I describe or compare and contrast? And so even though it's an AP class, it's not shameful to go ahead and start a word wall. You can put some of your key vocabulary words up there. You can do content vocabulary, and you can do the action vocabulary that's actually in the AP essays. And a lot of these, again, are cross-curricular. You'll see them in all disciplines. So again, another little helpful hint for you as you're setting up your classrooms going into your next unit, and stuff that the kids should start to figure out. You'll notice in this particular essay, the word predict is in there twice. And then they want at the very end, they want the student to justify their answer. So what does that mean? How does a student know to justify their response? And so these are things that we can start to have intelligent conversations with our students. And let's say, I know what you're thinking, I don't have a lot of time for this because I'm going to write all these essays, I'm going to grade all these essays, I'm giving all this content, I'm running out of time. All of this is on the College Board website. And I've showed you, as you logged into the MyAP platform for the pilot we're doing, I showed you where all the resources are at. You can go in and nab essays from almost any year, from almost any content, from almost any discipline, and start to massage them the way you want to work them. The students can get access to certain AP materials by going through the regular College Board website. So even if you didn't necessarily have the time to delve really deep into this, your students could start to look. They need to take ownership of their education, right?
Right.
I mean, we're trying to make them lifelong learners that can start to figure things out on their own. All right, so I've also given you how this essay was graded. I've given you a rubric that shows you how the essay was scored overall. I've given you 3 sample essays. Student 1 received a 10 out of 10, and there's the reasoning behind it. Student 2 received an 8 and some rationale behind it. And on the back page, student C received a 6. And so this does not have to be private material that you're hoarding somewhere in a drawer. Again, as long as you're not sharing names, these are things that can be utilized as instructional materials. You throw this out at the kids. Here, for instance, is Essay 1A I gave you. I just told you this kid scored a what?
A 10.
A 10, a perfect 10 out of 10. So why not make copies of this for your students and have them utilize the rubric to go through and see, can they see where the 10 points are? And then utilize sample C, where the student received a 6, and let them compare and contrast. Why was this a 10 and this one a 6? The students can then start to see where the pitfalls are, where some of the easy points are, and they're helping you peer evaluate. They're getting used to the rubrics and how to assess the essays. And again, all of this added together is going to speed up your ability to provide feedback to them, which is what they need when they're writing essays. Now, over the next bit of time here for our planning period meeting, we're going to run through a couple of these. I was waiting for a few more teachers to show up into the room. So while we're waiting, if you go back to your agenda here, I wanted to briefly touch on the MyAP. I placed our initial order with the College Board for our pilot. You guys did a sensational job getting all of your students added into the platform. I went in and added free and reduced lunch. I went in and added who had reduced testing fees. The only thing I'm waiting on from you guys now is to double check and make sure if you have any SSD accommodations. If you have any special ed students, 504s, anything, English language learner, anything that might require me to put in a request for an accommodation. I know you have some students with extended time and you send them out of room. If they're taking advantage of that extended time and it's in a written form somewhere, we want to make sure that we get that into the College Board in a timely fashion. Does anybody have any questions over the MyAP? I think you guys are doing really well in there. No questions on it. How are we utilizing the resources that are in there? So you have that whole resource packet that's in there that you and your students can gain access to.
So I think it's good sometimes to go over the whole class instruction as they come in, and then ask the students how they would respond, and then use that as a teachable moment.
Fantastic. Anybody else? There's a lot of great resources in there. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
Yes.
Definitely get in there and utilize everything that the College Board has put together for us. And I'll keep sharing the spreadsheet with everybody with regards to, are there any duplicate exam dates where they're testing at the same time, and if there's anything that the students might require or need as we get closer to testing. I know it seems so far away, but putting all the stuff up on the front end will hopefully reduce anxiety in the spring. So I won't have to come around in the rooms and do all the bubbling of the Scantrons and filling out all the little AP booklets. So I'm hoping that that'll alleviate some anxiety from the students and you. That'll free up some class time. I won't have to come bother you during your period.
Fantastic.
Now, we're getting ready for a couple teachers to come in, and as soon as they head on in here for their planning, we're going to go through a couple of these student samples. What I want to do is have each of us specifically read the student's essay, use the rubric to grade it, and I want you to physically mark on the paper where you think they earned the points. And then at the end, we'll go around, we'll see how many points each of us gave that student, and then we'll walk through and have some dialogue as to why and how they earned those points. How's that sound? Do you think that would be a worthwhile goal for us once everybody else gets in the room here?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Now, we also are going to be doing a Sweet Tea Tuesday coming up. And sometime here near the end of the month, it looks like next Tuesday, we're going to go ahead and bring a whole bunch of sweet tea in and have all the AP kids into the race room there and just have a celebration like we do every month. Give them a little snack, tell them they're appreciated, and let them know that we love the hard work and dedication that they're sharing and showing us. and you guys as well. If I had something extra, I'd
Sweet
get it
tea.
to you.
Kids love it. They feel so appreciated.
Yes.
They look forward to it.
Definitely.
Also coming up, I know Mr. Stevens isn't in here, but AP Research is going to need IRB participants. And I'm hoping all of the AP teachers, you guys will sign up. And the cool thing about it, for those of you who haven't done it before, you'll actually be reading students' research papers in your content area. Mr. Stevens will set you up in your specific content area to read through papers that would match your area of expertise, or at least your area of interest. And you can provide feedback to the students as they work on their capstone papers. Have any of you ever done the IRB process before?
I have.
What are your thoughts on that, Ms. Howell?
I think it's fantastic. So it's great that, that's my knowledge area. So you're able to give that feedback specifically to the students and ask them how they might set things up slightly differently, or to justify, we're talking about these action words, to justify. So I think it's great.
Anybody interested?
That sounds cool, yeah.
Like, if you can find a time.
Find a time, yeah.
It's definitely a time crunch thing. The
Right,
students
right.
have a very narrow window to get this done. The teachers come in and read, they have to provide feedback, and then move from there. Some great things going on in AP Research if you have time to check it out. Last thing, real quick, before the other teachers show up, is our pre-AP visits. I want to make sure that you guys are getting down to your pre-AP courses. So AP Biology, I want to see you in chemistry or anatomy classes, talking it up. Maybe bring some students down. AP Lang, go down into the American Lit classrooms. We want to make sure that we're getting in there and getting the students excited about AP. We'd like to keep them here on campus taking AP courses. And of course, having students come and answering questions and maybe dispelling some of the myths and some of the scary things about AP. You know what our policy here is at Chestatee and in Hall County: open, equity, and access. We want anybody and everybody to be able to take an AP course. The Hall County pays for the exams, and we insist that they sit down and take the exam, but we want as many kids as we can in there as possible. And we won, if you guys remember, Chestatee here, we won the AP Champion Award in 2017 for the state of Georgia. That's because we opened up our AP classes to a wide variety of students. We really want to see what our student enrollment looks like. We want to see that mimicked in our AP classes. And we've been successful with that, and I want us to keep pushing hard at that. And I appreciate the hard work you guys have put into it. All right, let me go ahead and go grab the other teachers, and once we get the other AP teachers in here, we're going to go ahead and start working on the essays. What you can do if you want to get a head start, go ahead and start reading that first essay by that student, and then we'll get moving here in a minute.